Well, Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy is backing a bill that requires the FAFSA form to be available to students on October 1st of every year. Kenya Ross reports.
The Senate introduced Monday a bill that would require the Department of Education to make the FAFSA available to students every year on October 1st. The FAFSA form has normally been available by that date, but this year students didn't begin filling out the form until late January. That caused the Department of Education to delay in getting the information from prospective and current college students. Senator Bill Cassidy says the delays are affecting students.
Colleges cannot offer these students their financial package because of the processing errors. Some students will decide not to go to school because they don't know if they can afford it. Some universities will have a cash flow problem because the students that might go there for enrollment will not, and so the cash flow problem will be very real.
The State Office of Student Financial Assistance says an October 1st rollout would ensure that financial aid offices statewide will deliver the necessary financial assistance to students who apply.
It basically is going to give those students and those post-secondary institutions enough time to actually get the application filled out and make sure those financial aid offers are processed ahead of any priority deadlines.
The office announced last week that it received a $75,000 award to support summer FAFSA completions and launched the Go FAFSA Tour, where students can receive in-person assistance to complete the application.
We have reached out to some parishes and post-secondary institutions in Northeast Louisiana to set up events. However, we would love to hear from anybody that's interested in participating in the Go FAFSA Tour.
The office says they're continuing to add events to the tour. We'll show students how they can register for virtual assistance on KNOE.com. For KNOE 8 News, I'm Kenya Ross.